It's July 4th, Independence Day, and I want to talk about freedom because in 2026, freedom is not the word your grandfather used. Real freedom right now comes down to three questions, and I'm going to walk all three of them with you today. Are you plugged into the intelligence that is quietly rewiring the entire economy, or are you standing outside the wire watching it happen? Do you own your own appetite, or does the food own you? And when your house finally sells, do you actually keep what it earned or does somebody take a percentage on the way out the door? Intelligence, your body, your home. Three kinds of independence. Let's go. Let me start with the artificial intelligence because I think almost everybody is looking at this in the wrong way, and I want to give you a better way to see it. I know that's arrogant, but for all human history, when we look at a leap forward, it came from one person having an idea, one mind, one spark. Somebody figured out fire, somebody figured out the wheel, one man, Edison, gave us the light bulb. We had one person, one flash of genius at one time. This is the entire story of human progress up to about 5 years ago. We measured how far we'd come by counting the bright ideas of individually bright people. What is arriving now is not a bigger spark. That's the part people keep getting wrong. They ask me, is this thing smarter than a smart person? Is it smarter than Einstein? And that question misses the whole thing because this is not a smarter person. This is the electrification of thinking itself. Now, think about the difference between a light bulb and electricity. The light bulb, a great idea. And electricity is not an idea. Electricity is the current that lights every bulb, runs every motor, and powers every machine we haven't even built yet. For 200 years, we collected bright ideas at one at a time. What's happening now is the whole grid is turning on. Intelligence is stop being a thing that lives in one clever head and becomes a thing that flows like power through a wire into everything at once. And once you see it that way, the news this week stops looking like a tech gossip and starts looking like the day your town got wired for power. Here's the biggest one, and it happened right here in our state. Governor Gavin Newsom just signed a deal that puts Claude, the AI built by a company called Anthropic, into every single state agency in California at half price. Every agency, the DMV is already using it. The Healthcare Services Department is already using it. That's the first time in history that one intelligence tool got cleared for an entire state government all at once. Now watch how you frame that. If you call it a software purchase, you fall asleep. And that's actually not what it is. The state of California wiring 19 million workers and the offices that serve them into the intelligence grid wholesale, the same way a city once ran power lines down the street. They're not buying a clever gadget for one department. They're treating intelligence like a utility, like water, like electricity, something you pipe to every desk and never think about again. Now cast yourself into that. Say you work at a county office or you're the person on the other side of the counter renewing your registration. 6 months from now, the clerk helping you is standing in front of a wired up desk. And a clerk in the office that didn't get wired is still doing it by hand. The gap between those two people has nothing to do with which one's smarter. It has everything to do with which one got plugged in. And that is the shift I need you to carry out today. Stop asking whether the machine is smarter than you. That's the wrong question, and it'll keep you frozen. The right question is, am I plugged in or am I not? Because the current is coming down the street either way. Here's the second piece, and it tells you where the money already knows this is going. Anthropic, the maker of Claude, just passed OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT, on revenue. Passed them. They're on track for $47 billion and to be profitable years ahead of schedule. When you build the light bulb company, you got rich selling bulbs. The people getting rich now are the ones selling the current. The whole world is quietly repricing itself around who delivers intelligence as infrastructure, and most folks at the kitchen table haven't been told about what the fight is even about. Well, that's the proof, and it's a system, not a gadget. The research firm Gartner says by the end of this year, 40% of business software will have little AI agents built into it, doing specific tasks. And last year, the number was under 5%. under 5 to 40 in 1 year. But here's the part that matters. Those little task agents are starting to link up with each other, one handling email, one handling the schedule, one handling the numbers, and they're being woven into a single fabric. We started the individual smarter tasks. That's what we started them with. They're being braided into one intelligence. That's the electrification. Here we go again, happening in front of you, in your accounting software, in your email, and the tools you already pay for. And here's the part that seals it, the part that makes it a utility, not a luxury. The price of this intelligence is falling off a cliff. This week, a Chinese company put out a model that does the hard stuff, the coding, the reasoning, at a small fraction of what American versions cost. And it's closing the gap fast. Now, set aside the politics of who made it. What matters for you at the kitchen table is what happens to a thing when it gets cheaper every single month. It stops being a fancy tool for the rich, for rich companies, and it starts being something everybody can afford. Like the light bulb went from a rich man's toy to a fixture in every home in about 20 years. Except this is happening in about 20 months, or 5 months, or 2 months. The current is getting cheaper and cheaper right as it reaches your street. This is the opposite of the story you've been told, where only the giants get the good stuff. The good stuff is getting cheap enough for the person with one truck. That's the independence in it. And the governments know it. The White House is drafting release rules with these AI companies right now. OpenAI actually delayed its next big model because the federal government asked for a closer look first. The United Nations just stood up its first commission to govern this stuff, and they put the head of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, on the head at the head and the head of Amazon on it. When nations start regulating something the way they regulate power grids and highways and airspace, they're telling you it's infrastructure, it's the wire. So here's my take, and I say this as somebody who actually deploys this in real businesses every single day. I've been in real estate since 1998. I've been building AI since 2021. I put voice agents onto every business that I own. Agents that answer the phone, follow up with people, book the appointments while I'm asleep. And when I wire one of those in, I'm not hiring a smart assistant. I'm plugging my little business into the same grid the state of California just plugged into for half price. And I'm in California, apparently, if I'm here. This is the Independence Day story for the 4th of July. For the first time, the regular person, the plumber, the hairstylist, the guy with one truck and a dream can plug into the exact same intelligence as the giant agency and the giant corporation. That access is the most democratizing thing that I have seen in my lifetime. But access you don't use is not access. The current is on your street, but nobody's going to walk into your house and wire it for you. That part is on you. And that's exactly why I do this show. You want me to show you how to plug in your business or your own life into this? Text the word AI to me at 661-400-1720. That's my actual cell, AI, to 661-400-1720. I'll get you wired in. All right, let's talk about your body because there's a war going on inside of it, and almost nobody's told you the two sides fairly. Here's what I want you to understand. Your body doesn't want to lose fat. And that's not a character flaw, that's a survival machine doing its job. Your body was built by a couple of 100,000 years of famine, and it treats your fat like a squirrel treats the nuts buried for winter. The second you start burning it, alarms start to go off. Your body fights back, and it fights dirty. There's a famous study they did on the contestants from The Biggest Loser, that old weight loss show. Yeah, I'm not old, really. I'm not gonna buy into that. 6 years later, 6 years, researchers found that their metabolisms were still running about 500 calories a day slower than they should be for their size. That's 6 years later. Their bodies decided we lost the winter stash once. We're never letting that happen again. And they turned down the furnace and kept it down. That's called adaptive thermogenesis. And it's your body defending its fat like it depends on it because for most of human history, it did. So that's side one. Your biology is fighting you and it doesn't get tired and it does not quit. But here's side two, and this is the part that changes everything. If your body fighting you were the whole story, then skinny people would have superhuman willpower and heavy people would be weak. And that's a lie because there's a second enemy in the room and it's on your kitchen counter, the food. the modern, ultra-processed, engineered in a lab food. That's a landmark study where they took people and fed them either ultra-processed food or simple whole food, and they matched them. Same calories available, same fat, same sugar, same protein on paper, and the people eating the ultra-processed version ate about 500 calories a day more without even trying, and they gained weight. Same nutrition on the label, 500 calories a day, just because the food was engineered to blow past the fullness signal your body uses to protect you. And the newest research this year keeps confirming it. When people just switch to minimally processed food, even food that isn't some perfect diet, they lose about double the fat without white knuckling it. That's without starving. The new dietary guidelines for the country finally came out and said it in plain language for the first time: eat less ultra processed food. That's how strong the evidence got. So now add it up. Your body is holding back about 500 calories a day to defend its fat, and the food is pushing about 500 calories a day past your brakes. That's 1,000 calorie a day swing working against you, and it has nothing to do with your willpower and nothing to do with your character. You've been fighting a rigged fight and blaming yourself for losing it constantly. Now let me get personal, because I talk about this from a book. I lost 135 pounds in 7.5 months. No Ozempic, no Zepbound, no shot. I'll tell you exactly what worked, because it lines up perfectly with those two enemies. I used fasting because fasting is the move that steps completely outside the food. When you're not eating, the engineered food can't hijack you. Your body finally actually taps the fat it's been hoarding. Fasting broke the grip. I'm a complete food addict. I'll say it plainly. And fasting was the thing that reset the wiring for me. I write about that whole thing at thelastaddiction.com. Now, I didn't solve it. I still am functionally dependent on trying to fight this all the time. But the more I learn, the easier it seems to get. And the more I stay on course, the easier it gets as well. And here's a piece that ties a bow on it. Those GLP-1 shots, everybody's on, Ozempic, Wegovy. You know why they work? They work by faking the fullness signal that the processed food stole from you. And that's the whole trick. They put back the break your food removed. And I'm telling you, you can reach for that same break without that needle if you break the food's grip first. The shot is one door. Fasting is another door. I walked through the fasting door and I never looked back. So trust your body's Independence Day. That's what this is. Your body's Independence Day. Freedom from a food supply that was engineered to own you. If you want to know how I did the fasting without wrecking my life, you can text the word fat to 661-400-1720. Fat, 661-400-1720. Now let's bring it home, literally to the house, because the Santa Clarita market just told a story this week, and I pulled the numbers myself this morning off the multiple listing service live before I sat down to talk to you. Here's the last 7 days in Santa Clarita Valley. 56 homes closed. They sold. Somebody bought them. That's good. But in that same 7 days, 59 homes came off the market with no buyer at all. 16 canceled, 22 expired, 8 withdrawn, and 13 are on hold. Those are still a little up in the air as to what's going to happen. That's 59 of them. So more homes fell out this week than actually sold. And here's the number that ties it together. 81 price changes in 7 days. That's 81. That's more price cuts this week than homes that closed. Let me tell you what that's telling you. This is not a crash. Prices are actually holding across the valley. The median is sitting right around 800s, high 800s. And in Valencia specifically, a house is closing at a median of $925,000. In about 24 days, and 40% of them are going in 2 weeks or less. So what is actually happening? It's a separation. The market is splitting into two piles right in front of us. Pile one, the homes priced to what's actually selling, the real comparable sales, and those are gone in 2 weeks, near asking clean. Pile two, the homes priced to what the owner wishes it was worth, and those sit, and they cut the price, and that's your 81. And then a chunk of them just gave up because the 59 that fell out, same valley, same week, two completely different outcomes. The only variable is the price that it started at. And I pulled one more number this morning that shows you exactly how fast this separation happened. And I've never heard another agent put it this way. I looked at Valencia homes and compared the price They first asked to the price they actually sold for, month by month across last year. Back in November for about $63,000 over its original asking price. Over. Buyers were fighting each other, bidding it up, paying more than the seller had even asked originally. Now roll forward to last month, June, the typical Valencia home is now selling for about $21,000 under its original asking price. So in about 7 months, the Valencia seller went from getting $63,000 over their ask to giving up $21,000 off their ask. This is the entire market shift in one number. Nobody got a memo. It just quietly turned. And if you're pricing your home today, like it's still last November, you're going to end up in that fill out pile. Here's the one thing I'll teach you today. If you're going to sell, and it's the whole balance, you do not price your home against your neighbor's dream. You price it against homes that actually closed. The sold pile is the truth. The fill out pile, that's the fantasy. Every one of those 59 started as somebody being sure their house was special. And the market very politely disagreed for a month until they gave up. I've been doing this in this valley since 1988. I've watched a seller chase the market down for 6 months, cut and cut and cut, and finally sell for less than they would have gotten if they would have priced it right on day one. Because the first 2 weeks are actually when all the best buyers are actually looking. And if you spend those 2 weeks overpriced, you burn them up and you don't get them back. That's that whole never get a second chance to make a first impression philosophy. And here's the second thing I'll teach you, because it's a move that keeps you out of the pile of 59 that fell out. Get the inspection done before you list. Now, buyers are going to have their own inspection process when they get into escrow, but you want to get a seller's home inspection done before you actually list the property, not after you're in escrow. Don't wait for the buyer to find out what's wrong with your house so you get caught off guard. That surprise factor sucks. Most people do it backwards. They list, they find a buyer, the buyer's inspector finds the water heater in the roof and the 2 bad outlets, and now the buyer is scared and renegotiating, and half of them walk. Then the house lands right back on the market with a scarlet letter on it. Had a deal once where the whole thing nearly died over 2 bad outlets, 2 GFCI plugs, and $1,000 fight on a house worth almost $1 million because it surprised everybody at the worst possible moment. Now, if it had been known on day one, it's a non-event because it wouldn't have been found, because it would have been fixed. You fix it, you disclose it, you price it in, nobody panics in escrow. The homes that fall out are usually the homes that get surprised. So don't get surprised. 21 of the homes that came back on the market this week, that back on market bucket, a bunch of those homes are exactly this. Deals that blew up in escrow and had to start over. And on the 4th of July, here's the independence angle I actually built my whole business around. When you sell with me, I don't take a percentage that balloons up the more your house is worth. I charge one fair fixed all-in fee. That's for full service. That's it. So whether it's a $700,000, $1 million, $10 million house, it's all the same. You can find more about that at sellersonlyagent.com. And that's your equity. You earned it. You should keep it. That's what independence looks like on a closing statement. If you're thinking about selling, want me to price it against the real sold comps, not the fantasy, you can text the word house to me at that same number, 661-400-1720. And if you want to see what's happening, you can go to SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com. Thank you very much. So let me bring the whole thing back together because it's the 4th of July and it all rhymes. Independence in 2026 is 3 things. It's being plugged into independence that's rewiring everything. Instead of standing outside the wire, it's owning your appetite instead of letting a lab-engineered food supply own you. And it's keeping the equity you own home earned, your own home earned, instead of handing it a percentage to somebody just because that's how it's always been done. And here's the thread through all 3. The giant agency, the drug company, the big brokerage, they've always had the access, the tools, the inside track. What's different now? What's actually new under the sun, which they say there's nothing, is the regular person can do it too. The same AI as the government. The same truth about your body that the researchers have. The same market about the big brokerage. And the same market data the big brokerage sits on. It's all reachable now for the person with one truck and a dream. That's the fight I'm in. That's why I make the show AI and health and a fair shot at keeping what you built for everyone, not just the wealthy. I'm Connor with Honor. You can text AI or FAT or house to that number, 661-400-1720. My actual cell, I build out automated numbers, A2P approval numbers for businesses all day long. Just a different feel for you. Anyway, you want help in whichever lane you need it, do that. Thank you for spending part of your fourth with me. Go be with your people, light something on fire safely, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.